This is Andrew Vontz, and you're listening to Choose the Hard Way, the podcast about how hard things build stronger people who have more fun. This is the 2025 Abandon Your Family 500 Daily Update 3. Bodies are hitting the floor, families are being destroyed, and leaderboard records are being broken. I am here, as always, at least for the past 2 days, with Jonathan Kaplan from Riding With, also the co-host of United States of Sweat, presented by Choose the Hard Way. And boy, do we have something big coming up soon. Also wanted to let you all know that I'm going to be having an interview with Jens Voigt dropping soon, interviewing him tomorrow. Stay tuned. A few other things up my sleeve. Please follow me at HardwayPod on Instagram. Jonathan, where can people follow you?
They can follow me on Instagram at Johnny99Kaplan and on LinkedIn with Jonathan E. Kaplan.
On LinkedIn, the
I do my best work
network.
There. Actually, I have huge news, Andrew.
Okay.
LinkedIn, I mean, this is how far we've fallen as a society, but LinkedIn has done an end of year wrap up. You know my number one friend on LinkedIn?
It's me.
It is.
Yeah, definitely. It's been all right getting to know you in real life and spending time with you in Pace Ranch, especially the baptism that took place in the cold plunge with Kip of Kip's Corner and Kip Tips, Kip of fill it up before you train. However, I think a real apex for me as a human being and professional this year was having the opportunity to consume, like, and then comment on your LinkedIn post. Before we get any deeper, I want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by my primary partner, blockchain.com. Whether you're crypto curious or a crypto veteran, blockchain.com is your trusted resource for all things crypto. And you can't see it because we're not doing video episodes for these daily updates to keep it simple and in rapid prototype mode. But I do behind me have my Lauf Sigla, one of the most fun bikes I've ever had the chance to ride. It rips, it's fast, it's comfortable, it looks cool, and I've had a lot of fun on it in 2025. Jonathan, I'm sure that, like me, you want anyone who's listening to please like, subscribe, tell all your friends all the heat, all the action that's going down with the Abandon Your Family 500. I have to say that there's been some drama in my home since we last spoke. In fact, when I came down from the recording last night, my amazing wife, Molly, asked me if perhaps next year the Abandon Your Family 500 could take place on a less busy week. And then she suggested something like the second week of January. I have to tell you, in my experience, that's actually not a less busy week. And as I emphasized to Molly, part of this challenge is being completely self-absorbed during one of the most busy times of the year for the family to really focus on yourself as an endurance athlete because of all the joy it brings to people in your athletic community. How's it going on your end?
Terrific. Okay, I think we might have to change the name to get
we're definitely
full
not
buy-in.
changing the name. Yeah, the name is a feature, not a bug.
Well, just to say that today, though, yesterday I had a terrible day off and on the bike. Today, much different, I think, because, well, part of it because I split the ride in two. I rode this morning very easy, 30 minutes on Zwift. It was warm enough here to go outside. I mean, it's very gray and very damp, but maybe in the 40s. So I met a friend. We rode about 25 miles, and then I did an extra half an hour on Zwift after that. But for me, that's like the perfect way to do this.
Yes. I today, again, had one of those days that started, and then there was no opportunity to get on the bike until, 7, 8 hours into the day. My preference would be to do one of these dynamic splits, the Norwegian method that's being used down there in our country's capital by Jonathan Kaplan. However, I have not successfully executed it. Morning and getting ready for school, doing our 2 school drop-offs in completely different directions, hour round trip. It's not optional. It's the one thing that I cannot abandon my family for during this time. And it's not a time when I can get onto the bike. And personally, I've been going to bed a bit later due to my intense self-absorption, being on the bike so much during the day on top of the regular workload, and then putting out the daily podcasts, editing it, getting it uploaded, which is a lot of work. And something you could do if you're enjoying these podcasts is you could become a paid subscriber to my Substack at alwaysthehardway.substack.com. You can find that link in the show notes, as well as at Hardway Pod in the link tree in bio. That'd be a great way to give yourself a gift for the new year. Become a paid subscriber. And Jonathan, something that I reflected on today, in line with what you shared about your day yesterday, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. And something that I've noticed both in my Zen practice, my Dharma reading, and when I get on the trainer is it's often the case that it feels pretty terrible at some moment, or it seems unachievable, or there's the feeling of bonking, or man, this is really a drag. I've had that feeling a couple of times. In fact, every time I've gotten on the bike, there's some moment where I have that feeling. And what I've found is the mantra that I have is I always go back to this question arises of, why am I doing this right now? The preloaded answer that I've had that I deploy like a line of code is because this is what I'm doing right now. And I pre-program myself knowing that some moment is going to arise when, candidly, my butt hurts, I'm bonking, I have a lot on my mind, I know that I need to go do work. I do actually care deeply about my family and want to spend time with them, as much as I've joked about it during the Abandon Your Family 500. And you know what, Jonathan? I've made this commitment to myself, to the larger gravel community, to achieving those mid-pack results at events in 2026 at gravel majors and minors, at attending shakeout rides. And the only way to achieve that is to keep going. And it's been a lot of fun just to talk with other people who are engaged in the challenge. How's it going for you?
I like, first of all, I think for me personally, when I think like, especially yesterday, I think for a lot of people, it'd be a privilege to be able to do this, to carve out the time. And I'm at a point in time where I can do that. So that helped keep things in perspective. But, I think overall, as long as I can, have the proper nutrition and drink enough and eat enough, I don't think I did that yesterday, but definitely did so today, like a much more even keel. So, but it's great to be doing this with you guys. It's great to be it's pretty amazing how many people pop up in the Strava feed. Like, you've been bumped by so-and-so. I keep falling farther down the leaderboard as like Kip and these other guys keep getting farther and farther ahead, which is totally fine. Not for me. It's just consistency, and I don't need to do, and probably could not do, a century in one day. But the other thing is, for me, it's the time that I can just think and let my mind wander. And I can't remember what last year, I certainly went down a rabbit hole on some subject, but this year it was definitely listening to the Rewatchables podcast about high fidelity, watching high fidelity and thinking, oh my God, Rob Gordon is a total asshole.
Okay.
Can I curse?
Do whatever you feel compelled to do, Jonathan.
I mean, I don't know if they could remake that movie today because he's such a idiot.
Okay.
But man, the great music, what a cast. And yeah, it made me want to like look at all these other 90s movies and books. Although High Fidelity came out in 2000. So
it was a retro movie in 2000.
well, it was probably made between like what 98 and 99, 2000. So let's call it a late 90s.
Yeah, fair enough.
90s movie. Yeah.
I understand. Well, Jonathan, thanks for sharing that. Taking a look at the leaderboard, I wanted to give a shout out to Meg Vols. Meg, if I'm saying your last name incorrectly, I apologize. You can let me know how to pronounce it if I have not pronounced it correctly, of which there is a 100% chance because I just did 2 alternate pronunciations of your name. Meg is sitting at 70th place on the leaderboard. I know that, like many of us in the challenge, has young people in her family, and I know that she's inspiring them. Jonathan, similar to what you saw, I sent you some footage of my daughter watching me on Zwift, and of course, telling me to ride faster and asking me why everyone was passing me. And that's the kind of encouragement I like to get from the family. Arlo Jamrog, now in the Bay Area, a Bay Area legend, a Mid-Coast Maine born rider, looking strong. 55th on the leaderboard at 38.3 kilometers. This case, ultra endurance legend, sitting right behind the Prince of Tiburon, David Lorsch, in 53rd. And I wanted to note that we have a big entrance, I believe, making his debut today at 12th place, just behind Wukar, the screen name of one of the most legendary strength and conditioning coaches in endurance sports. The mind behind Keegan and many other riders and their strength training. We've got Phil Guyman sitting in 12th place. I believe that could be just one ride, 181 kilometers. And then, of course, Kip, I know for a fact, based on screenshots, has some secret uploads that are going to be coming in hot later tonight. Currently in 4th place behind Dustin Davis in 3rd. Andy Leach, you are a hero, sitting in 2nd place, 303.5 kilometers, right behind Chase Work, the most aerodynamic human in gravel racing and one of the biggest gear innovators. Keep your ears peeled. Chase was not able to join us tonight. He's busy with the family and baby Wout. He has a fresh baby in the family. Congratulations to Chase and fam. Relatively fresh. Not able to make it, but will be here hopefully in the next couple of days. So, Jonathan, before we wrap up, any words of encouragement for those out there? As you noted, all of us in this position of extreme self-indulgence and privilege, sitting on bicycle trainers and indoor spaces, or you doing both, indoor and outdoor riding in one day. How decadent. What would you like to share with the community?
First of all, this is a family affair. So my cousin, Josh Tatel, is in 27th place. My brother is a bit further down, although I'm sure that'll change when he puts in some big rides this weekend. And then we have the Washington, D.C. contingent of Stephen Burwell, Seth Hanlon, and Matt Tucker. So those guys are all very strong riders, great guys. So it's fun to have people really all across the country. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and Jonathan, for everyone in the DC area or any other power players out there, Jonathan and I, of course, working to continue to secure partners for United States of Sweat. We have big plans to spin it off. This is similar to what's happening now, spinning off from the Cosby Show. We think that there's an entire other series here, and we need some power players in the political arena to get out their checkbooks and get behind the show, because we think it's poised to take off like a G6. So if that's you, DMs are open. I'm still in search of aero bars, and while I'm inside, I feel like I could use some wider deep section wheels. So that's on my Amazon wish list for anyone out there that wants to sprinkle a little bit of sugar on Choose the Hard Way before the end of the year. thanks for tuning in. And people, of course, are wondering, where's Kip? Kip is on the trainer secret training right now, 100%. Where is Spencer after this period of travel to undisclosed locations in transport yesterday? 100-mile-per-hour gusts, I believe, in Boulder currently, and Spencer has a power outage in his home and is saving the phone battery in case of emergency as they deploy to the east to escape the high winds. I believe that's what's happening, or at least that's potentially what's going on. So Spencer and family, we wish you the best of luck, especially because we know that you were several days behind on the challenge. And as the Boulder community endures these high winds, we know that there are a lot of people out there in that community who desperately need to get on trainers to put in miles for the Abandon Your Family 500. So we wish you all the best of luck at the homes of your host families when you leave the area, and we hope that they have highly ventilated areas for you to ride your trainer. Join us again next time here on Choose the Hard Way for the next Abandon Your Family 500 daily update.